African type stuff, whatever. But just like all this stuff about manhood on the boys side, I don't know if they talk to girls, but I would assume womanhood and all that. But yeah, man. So
Cub
and then
Scouts, kind of.
I would
Not
take it
so much. Not so
way
much
past Cub Scouts.
survival, huh?
Yeah, I would take it way. Cub Scouts count sound kind of soft.
Or Boy Scouts, but like I mean, it's all for grown men, but for kids that are
It's for
growing
high
up.
school boys.
Oh yeah, high
Hmm.
school boys, middle school boys that are living in inner city specifically, because I don't feel
Oh yeah,
like you don't need this if you're living out in the country. You know what I'm saying? You don't need
yeah,
this if
no.
you're living out
Hmm.
in rural areas. So this is very much like an urban version of, like you say, rites of passage for boys. And
Yep.
how long were you meeting every week? Was this, like you said, through high school? Was it middle school?
During the school year, in high school.
But
Hmm.
only in high school.
Yeah, it was only a high school
Ah,
program.
okay, okay, okay. Oh, so yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely wasn't like a Boy Scouts kind of thing. Because I was thinking like through it, like grade school throughout, you know what I mean? And being able to do
Mm-mm.
something like that for every week. Yeah, so the Kool-Aid was drank. Like you definitely were not yeah, I guess indoctrinated for lack of a better term. You were really like drinking the Kool-Aid of what it is, you're supposed to do, right? Like this is our plan, this is what we're doing, we're getting coached, we're getting,
Hmm.
I think about that all the time when it comes to single parent households versus two parent households, and how you unknowingly or subconsciously or consciously are picking up on tolerance, on ways of arguing with your significant other, but that you can bring it
Hmm.
back. You know what I mean? Like being able to resolve issues and things like that and kind of move forward. I think about that when it comes to debutantes, and especially people that go to college and they get married right after college and stuff. It's like they kind of were given these, I call it steps to the dance. There's a waltz that goes on. And, with through these kind of organizations, they kind of give you what those steps are so that you are kind of
Hmm.
shuffled into
Hmm.
the next area of life.
Hmm.
Um, it worked for you. Did it not? Like,
Hmm.
was it something that it was uncomfortable? Was it something that you ever had to like fight against, or was it very much in line with whatever else you had going on with your father being a pastor, being a part of the church? Was it intermingled with
Well,
that, or
it's actually interesting that you say that. So my dad wasn't the biggest proponent of the club, not necessarily because of what it stood for, because it still had a very heavy spiritual component. But I don't think he was a fan. He never came out and told me. So this is all me putting two and two together. But I don't think he was a fan of the leader of the group.
mm, but
And
he didn't want to prevent you from being part of it.
right, but he would like say little slick shit like, "Oh, like when I would get in trouble, he'd be like, "Oh, so is this what the gents is teaching you? Like, you over here doing this, and you going over there on Monday night? They're supposed to be so da, 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 so you spend all this time with them." And I'm just like that, like seriously, man,
Mm,
like stop. And then
heavy shit.
every time something happened, it wasn't like I was a
He
bad
was
student,
blaming him.
it was
That's
some
the head
stuff
stuff.
happening
Yeah,
from here,
yeah, of course.
and then just basic teenage stuff. It's like, oh, so you going to the gym?
That's what you're
I'm
learning
like,
over
you know
there,
what?
huh?
Forget it. I ain't even gonna finish. So I didn't like go through passage. I didn't finish my senior year because I was tired of him
Oh,
throwing it in my face. Like it was a thing, and he kept throwing it in my face. Like, forget it, bro. I'm done. So you can't keep
ah,
using this. Yeah.
right.
And so I didn't finish, man. So
Do you think that's something he secretly wanted?
yeah, I believe so. But like I said, I never had a conversation with him about it. I really didn't care. Like after it happened, I still don't care now to know. But like, yeah,
You have your own,
I
yeah,
I
you made
believe
your
so.
conclusions and you relate it to rest, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that was 20 plus years ago. I'm good. But
Yeah.
mhm.
No, that's still interesting. And how that would you encourage your son to do that?
The program that we had, absolutely.
Okay.
There's other programs that are coming up now that are trying to restore the feeling and recreate the vibe and all that, but it's tough, man. And then the city, like here in Portland, is not the same. Whereas everybody was concentrated in the same area, so it was very easy to connect everybody and get
Mm,
around and go to like whatever event here, whatever event there. Now everybody, the Black community, is so spread out,
right.
and we're
In
no
the
longer
north.
concentrated in North and Northeast. There's folks out in Gresham, there's folks out in Beaverton, there's folks out in Vancouver. You know what I'm saying? Or just in the numbers and all that. So like it's just not the same. It's not the same.
Mm,
And then also you can't even be well, you can, but it's like it's hard to be of the same mind now not to say it's a bad thing, but it's hard to be of the same mind. Like ideological arguments now are way heavier than they were back then. So to me, it just seems like it's harder to get on the same page with kids and parents and all that, and you just end up arguing over, minutia as opposed to like the bigger picture and all that. So
If
but like I said, there's not anything that compares to that right now. So I wouldn't, there's nothing I can send them to.
right. So
Hmm.
it would be be like church, where we don't buy into it totally, but it has its benefits, especially when it comes to community
Hmm.
raising, especially when it comes to somebody at that age, at that impressionable age, having a group of
Yeah.
people his age and a group of older mentors. If you can't get anywhere else, better that program than no program, kind of thing, right? Like you wouldn't drink
Oh
the
yeah. No,
Kool-Aid.
it was a great program for college prep. It was a great program, just to be around other young brothers your age that was like of a similar mind when it comes to education and all that, and just going through things. It was like what I already had in church, but it was non-denominational, very focused on college prep. It was kind of like a gateway to being in a fraternity because it is a
That's
fraternity of
about
its
to
own.
ask you.
You know what I'm
That was
saying?
the next
Yeah,
question.
I mean, you
Pipeline.
cross, you have you get jackets. It's very much like a fraternity, but it's just high school fraternity. So that's
Mm.
that's that's what it is. But it's once again rites of passage, African values and principles and all that. And it was solid, bro. I'm not gonna cap. Like if we had that exact same program right now, I would definitely send my son there. But like I said, it's nobody to really bring that back and restore it like it needs to be restored.
These last couple of months, I talked a little bit about it last week, but I think there's going to be a continued unlearning of a lot of the things that we thought. We're starting with religion. Sometimes we
Hmm.
start with education. We start with political, aspirations or beliefs or, whatever the narrative is. We have to unlearn the trust that we had for modern media. We've had to just do a lot of unlearning.
Hmm.
And I think 2025 is going to be much of the same. For me, this last 6 months has been um, finding value in the information from people that I don't what's the word, overwhelmingly agree with, right? So I agree with
Hmm.
less than 50% of what their rhetoric is, but the things that I've been able to learn through listening to them has been an immeasurable benefit to my life. I think that's going to be like a date question for me too. I would love to know, do you listen to anybody who doesn't hold the same beliefs as you? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to a significant other, I would like to know that. Just
Hmm.
because if they're getting fed through their echo chamber, or are they really, you have to kind of actively find on social media, you have to actively find people who don't agree with you. I noticed that. You have to actively
Well, yeah,
find
because of the
the
algorithm.
algorithm, the rhythm. Yeah, so the algorithm is always kind of like giving you more of your echo chamber. And I would love to know. I don't. Maybe I'm just like shooting in the dark with that one, but I think that'd be a cool date question. Like, who is it that you listen to that you may not agree with? Mr. Williams, is there somebody that you've listened to over the last year specifically, that who you don't, agree with the majority of their opinions or work, but you still found some value in what they've had to offer?
Candace Owens.
Come on, bro.
Candace Owens, bro. I've never really listened to her seriously or just gave much credence to what she says, what she has to say. But this year, it just and not even the anti-Semitic part. It was more, and it was a somebody sharing her stuff with me. And normally, I would just categorically deny it, and like, bro, I'm not listening to that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But I was like, when it came to the election, because I'm so removed from the election stuff, and I'm not right or left. I'm just like, agnostic to it all. It was very interesting to hear both sides and hear how they talk and see who was closer to using like reality or using facts as verifiable versus just using talking points and scare tactics. And
Mm.
I can't say because I'm not doing the research and I'm not going behind her and digging up and see, oh, is this what are her claims true? But she was very convincing and logical in the way that she approached trying to trying to tell everybody how Kamala wasn't really black, right? And how when she was talking about
Oh,
her
her series
family,
of like of searching, yeah,
yeah,
searching. No, bro.
Oh man, it was like, and some of it, it was like,
Bro.
but some of it was like real hidden colors. It was like real
Yeah,
circumstantial type stuff. Like, well,
yeah,
if this
yeah,
is
yeah.
true,
She
then
made she made
this is
sense.
true. It's like, all right, bro. Like, okay, you can't verify it. Like, you're just, I get it. Like, it sounds good, but it's like she does have a sister. Her sister looks very much black. Yeah, she's light skinned, but her sister is darker and her hair is thicker. So either
Mm.
they got the same dad or they don't. That's what you got to come down. So but no, it was just convincing, or not convincing. It was entertaining, but it was more logical and rational than a lot of the top left pundits talking points on trying to scare you out of voting for Trump. And he's Hitler and he's a terrorist and he's all this. And I'm just like, the United States is a terrorist country. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the FBI, we have the CIA. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, that I would say Candace Owens comes to mind for sure.
What do you think you've learned? What has stuck with you? Because you were saying it was entertainment. What do you feel like you've learned most from her? Or what has she helped you change your views on? Or what has she shed some light on? You said you spoke briefly about the during the political during the presidential, race. Yeah, I guess what have you learned from listening to her now?
I didn't learn much. I didn't learn much, but I just learned more about myself. And it's like, it's okay to put your guard down, E. Like, you can, it's okay, man. Like, drop your drop your bias, drop your confirmation bias. Just drop your bias, drop your ego, and just listen.
Hmm.
And you don't have to be emotionally attached to the results or the outcome or even the facts or the non-facts. It's just, there's no emotional attachment to this info. It's just information, right? A lot of times we listen to people say stuff, we hear people give their opinion, and then if it doesn't align with our opinion, we feel like if they don't agree with us, then we have to convince them
Right.
that we're right and that they need to like what we like or they need to believe what we believe. And it's like,
Because it validates what you
that's
believe.
right. And then it becomes, it's not even about the thing that we're talking about. It's
Right,
about
right.
the pride and the ego of me being right, and you need to think what I
Hit
think
on
and believe
this.
what I believe. Because if you don't, then that's a threat to me, and it's
Mhm.
not a threat. But we kind of think like
Perceive
that,
it
and
as
we
such.
speak like that,
Yeah.
and we act like that. So, in something that's similar to what I'm saying, totally unrelated to the election, but like, for instance, I put out my list of my top 10 hip hop albums of 2024. I put it on my Instagram story. My top 10.
Yeah.
I
Not
got
the
niggas in
best.
my inbox, bro. Right, right. Not the best albums of the year. This is what I listen
Right,
to the most. This is
right.
what I went back to the most. Niggas like, bro, you didn't put Schoolboy Q, you didn't put Ab Soul, bro. How you ain't put Freddie Gibbs? I'm like, bro, I just didn't listen to
Oh,
him.
wait, hold
But
on,
bro,
bro.
you
Hold
need
on, bro.
you need you
Hold
you
on,
need
bro.
you need to go back. You need to go
If
back.
you
See,
didn't
here
put
you
Freddie
go.
on that top 10 this year, bro, come on. Hold on, bro.
I didn't.
Yeah, Schoolboy
I
Ab, the
see. Here
best
you go. Here we
Freddie's crazy.
go. Here we go.
I'm just saying, man. I don't know if I can I could not list 10 albums that I could listen to more than
See,
how much I've listened to You Only Die
see,
Once.
you're doing it to me. Pause,
Oh,
just like they
wait,
did.
what? I got ideologically captured, bro. You said something that was
Yeah,
really
man.
interesting to me, man. You said we, we don't have to like be emotional about it, right? It's
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
information.
Just information.
I got irritated listening to I was listening to a podcast today, and I got irritated hearing the guy say I feel like. And I started to wonder like why is that irritating to me? And they were having a conversation about I guess the perspectives of men and women.
Mm.
And I caught myself not liking it, but I bet you I say it. And in this conversation earlier, I think I either caught myself or I just said it real quick and I was like, "Damn, I just said it." You can't feel like if you're dealing with information. And I think that's something that I really want to dig out. I hope it's not deep. But saying I feel
Well, you
like
can. You can feel whatever you choose to feel or not feel. It's a choice.
yes, but and that's what makes debates or sharing an opinion moot. Because if I share it from an
Hmm.
emotional standpoint, then like what are we talking about? Yeah, that's how you feel. I can't argue how you feel. But
Exactly.
if I can intellectualize the process and I'm saying this is what I think the best way to approach the presidential election is, and I'm just going to give you information and not give you what I feel, especially if, when I don't start my sentences with I feel like. But if I can give you thoughts, there's a way to have a genuine conversation that could possibly lead to either me changing my mind about what I believe or what I think, because I've taken the time to think about it. I've taken the time to receive whatever information you have, if it's counter. And if it stands up, oh, I need to change my ideas. But there's no room for change if I just feel like something. So I guess that was one of my triggers this week, man. I'm not gonna lie. I got really irritated
Mm.
until I figured out that I say that as well. So I'm trying to stop that now. Because if we're
Okay, so
talking,
I gotta ask, why are you irritated when you hear it, even though you do it?
I'm irritated. I'm irritated, and I didn't know that I did it. So I was irritated before I realized I did it.
I
Right.
know, but why? But why? Okay, so why are you irritated when you hear? You saying because you can't feel your way through a conversation that is
Right. If we're
supposed
having
to
a
be
if we're
objective?
if we're supposed to share information and we're supposed to
Hmm.
share ideas, these are all intellectual pursuits. So we're thinking through these things and we're articulating our thoughts. I don't think this is a, you while feeling is cool and there's space for that, especially when it comes to music and entertainment. If we're thinking through the presidential election, if we're thinking through what economic choices we need to make for the next year, there's no space for, I feel like that's gonna be a good choice, so I feel like I should go in this direction. No, let's you know what I mean? Like, let's think about this, let's make informed choices, and that is all thoughts. And I wonder how much I've been feeling my way through conversation sometimes. You know what I mean?
Are you? Are you? Is there some? What is the adverseness to feeling though? I don't. I'm trying to understand that part.
In the conversation that I was listening to, they were trying to defend opposing sides.
Mm,
And in my mind, we're having a friendly debate. You're having a discussion about opposing ideas. So
mm,
let's represent each idea properly. But there was so much like anecdotal evidence. You know, I feel like I just see
mm.
a lot of such and such, or I feel like I just see, or I just
Yeah.
do it more. And it doesn't help me challenge what I believe. Right. Um, it's interesting because again, in the context that you were talking about when it comes to, man, we don't have to be so emotional about all these decisions. We can actually receive someone's information without having to reject it or like react to it, and we can chew on
Mm,
it and see what it does for me.
mm,
And in that mode, I think it's really important, especially when you're dealing with something new, with new information, Candace Owens, or with the information that she, or who she used to be, which probably left a bad taste in your mouth. But as she changes and as she sees the world in a new way, you're seeing her in a new way. And so you have to make sure to intellectualize that versus feelings, because that first impression lasts forever, right? So the first time you feel her information, you're just like, ugh, she's gross. I don't want to talk, I don't want to ever listen to her. You would have missed this transformation that she's going through. Um,
mm,
and I think that is really important for us to, there's a time and space for both. There's a time and place
mm,
to converse with connection in mind, and that's one thing that I didn't know, like talking with feeling to connect. And there's another thing where you're sharing information. And the context that you were just telling me, again, when we were talking about the, presidential and all that stuff, politics and everything going on there, it just reminds me that let's stop using feelings for intellectual pursuits and let's use feelings for feelings pursuits. So thank you for that reminder, man.
no
That
doubt.
wasn't something I wanted to talk about tonight, but your thoughtful responses definitely triggered that. Without switching gears to something, let's hit the feelings department real quick.
Mm,
I've been on my fragrance game like you wouldn't believe this year. I've really, really
okay.
jumped into an addiction that I've had at three different points in my life. I love
Mm,
fragrances, room fragrances, and colognes and stuff like that. So
mhm,
this year I smelled two colognes that have just, no, I guess three. Yeah. Two colognes and a perfume that have completely enraptured me. They have completely like Oh my God, I have to find
I
whatever
got
that is that's not
now.
$500.
Now I got to Google that word because I can't
What?
even I can't keep up. Enraptured.
$500?
Hold on. Yeah, hold on.
Don't do
What
that.
is enraptured? Nah, bro.
Bro, don't do that, man. I was digging
Give
it. I was digging a
intense
lot,
pleasure or joy. Oh my god.
bro. Enraptured.
Your vocabulary game is crazy, bro. I'm gonna keep actually I'm gonna keep this page up just
Yeah,
to
you
make sure
wild,
I can keep
man.
up with the
Don't do
conversation.
that. Don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Don't do that. I think I learned that from you,
So I can,
actually. I think I learned
nah,
that word
nah,
from
don't try to deflect and put that on me, bro. I ain't never heard that word, bro.
you.
So
And you know what? I think that word is really accurate because your
it
olfactory
is.
sense is something that you don't have to think through. The minute it hits you, you know what I'm saying? It's almost the minute it hits you, you react to it, and there is a reaction of
It's
it,
like a feeling. It's like a feeling.
bro. So, yeah, I'm
I
smelling one of
was
those
being
smells right
facetious,
now.
but
Say again?
you know, I was being facetious because we was talking about feelings and
No, it is
all
though.
that.
It's a feeling. It's a
Okay,
feeling. It's a sense.
we are in the feelings conversation. It's okay to
Yes,
say that
bro.
we in the
Yes,
feelings.
bro.
Okay, cool. All right, cool, cool. I'm just
It's a feeling.
I was trying to see where we was at. Okay,
Thank you,
all
sir.
right.
Thank you, sir. It's all in here. Let me ask you, man, in the fragrance department, candles, plugins, incense, you doing y'all don't really have like the Muslim dudes selling the Egyptian musk out there. So like what do
No,
you do
no.
for your smell good regiment, man?
So I'm really not a smell good regimen guy. I think eventually I'll get there. I literally just started wearing a cologne, and I just found like a black owned brand called Chris Collins, the World of Chris Collins.
Okay.
Um, I'm I support. I bought it. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like it, but I still wear it because I bought it. You know what I'm saying? But so I still I'm a novice when it comes to the game of like cologne and all that. And I'm actually I'm really sensitive to chemicals. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So
mhm,
like I'll just get a stuffy nose, or I mostly get a headache when I'm around too many chemicals. So like even the soaps that I use, I get the most basic soap. I'll get like Dr. Bronner's, like, you know what I'm saying,
mm,
just regular soap. When it comes to detergent, it's the Tide free and clear, the Bounce, everything is free and clear because
mm,
chemicals, I get a headache. I literally like get a headache and I'll be sick and I'll just feel nauseous
mm,
all day if I wash my clothes and dry my clothes and anything chemicals. And then any like if I used to have Glade plugins in my office at my job, and I would have migraines. I'm like, yo, y'all got to take them plugins out. Like
yeah.
that
Those
shit
are
got to
annoying.
go. So I'm real sensitive to that. So um and even candles, if it's not like all the way like a wood wick, or you know what I'm saying, like the smoke will mess me up. So when it comes to when I do get candles, my homegirl Precious, she got her own candle brand, Mr. OK's Essentials. You know what I'm saying? And so those are the candles that I really rock with heavily when I do candles. When it comes to the scents and all that though, like, you know what I'm saying, the colognes, I'm gonna need your advice on that. I'm gonna need your help on that, bro.
Oh, bro, I am absolutely of here to be of service, man. That's something
Yeah.
where I think it's like finding your color. You know what I mean? Finding
Mm,
whatever color works well with you. Finding your own cologne
straight
or
up.
finding something that smells good on you and that you enjoy.
Hmm.
Bro, that's
Mm,
such a beautiful adventure, man. It's like finding shoes. It's like finding anything. It's an expression of who you are and what you
yeah.
like. And I think it's a very underrated way for us to express ourselves because especially
Hmm.
with something higher quality, with something that's not a Glade plug-in equivalent of a body, you know what I'm saying, of a body oil.
Yeah.
Like we're not doing that here.
The Axe body spray. You said
Oh,
that's not.
I mean, I have my time with it. Curve, Axe. I have my
We all
time.
did. We all did. You
I have
know,
my
we was
time.
younger. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited to be back in there. And I have kind of overdosed on buying so many different like the breadth of my collection is crazy. It's
Okay.
it's exciting to see that I'm trimming myself down to what I think is my collection. You know what I mean? What my collection is going to be. So happy about that. What is it that has been on your mind in this last week? I want to talk about a couple of things, but I've already taken the first couple of topics, and I want to leave space for you to be able to, you know what I'm saying, tell these people about themselves or, you know, get some off your chest.
I guess what's been on my mind this past week, man, really getting getting the distractions, getting the obstructions out of the way. You know what I'm saying? A lot of I'm noticing like it's very easy to get distracted in little stuff. Like I noticed my transitions from getting in the car to turning on the music, getting the heat right, pulling up to a place, and then just like turning off the music. Just get out the car and go do the thing. You know what I'm saying? And then pulling back up to my house and then sitting in the car another 5-10 minutes, just like scrolling, like, all right, what's my next
Mhm.
move? And it's like I
So easy.
notice how much time it's so easy to lose like 30 minutes of your day just in transition,
In
right?
3 to
As
5
opposed
minute
to
increments, right?
so quick. You know what I'm saying? And then I didn't notice how much I was on social media until I put a timer on it. Like I put a time limit on Facebook and Instagram to an hour a day. And I would hit that shit by, 2, 3 o'clock.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, I just open it up, open it up, da da da. And it's just like, I
Done.
didn't realize how long I was on social media until I put a limit on there. You know what I'm saying? But then I'll take it off on the weekends, or I'll forget about it on the weekends. And then I realize it pops back up like later on in the evening. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm not even on it as much. I'm not like unconsciously. So I'm noticing like the obstructions and distractions that we have accepted as normal. And I've been limiting those and just being conscious, being mindful of it, and just noticing how much better I feel when I know that I'm not being distracted, as opposed to you can easily be distracted and not know it. So you don't know. But at the end of the day, it's like, damn, I feel like I could have did more,
Mm.
So that's kind of what's been on my mind.
That
Yeah.
was me this weekend for sure. Let me ask you,
Mm.
I don't know if you're similar to me in that the distraction, even though distraction isn't available, it doesn't stop you from reaching for your phone and like, oh shoot, I already hit my hour. And you do that 2 or 3 times before you're like, okay, let me stop reaching for that because it's not happening today. Are you good about finding something to occupy that time? Do you find yourself just kind of like sitting for 2 or 3 minutes and reflecting or just zoning out? Or
No,
is it
I just read more. I just read more. I'll do the things that I really want to do. So I'll read, I'll stretch. I hadn't been stretching a lot lately. So I'll like stretch, just do whether I'm on YouTube following a guided yoga, or I'll just like start doing my favorite yoga stretches, whatever, just while I'm watching TV, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So yeah, I just noticed myself doing more of the constructive things that I really want to do, but then I'll end up like, oh no, I'll do it later. I'm like, well, yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? And you just forget your thoughts because you get enamored with what's on or you get
well,
enraptured with what's on the screen. You
here he goes.
know
Here he goes. Hey, look at him. Look at him.
I got to, bro. I could.
That's your first X, bro. That's your first. That's funny. You really
Oh
tried to slide
man.
that in there so smooth too.
Oh man. I almost had it. I was like, damn, I
That's
missed
funny.
the other E word, bro.
That's funny. I can't agree more, and I think I'm gonna try that this next week, starting tonight. Limiting
Mm.
myself on social media because my number one app is Facebook, but it's because of Marketplace. Like I'm a Craigslist junkie,
Yeah.
so Facebook Market is a new Craigslist. Bro, whether it's a city that I'm going to in a couple of months or a city that I'm going like a part of Miami, I'm always looking for deals, always. Whether it's something I'm gonna flip on eBay, something I'm gonna flip on Facebook Market down here, something I'm just gonna get for a really, really good price, bro, I'm always on Facebook Market scouring, man. That's just a hole as well. So I'm gonna set my timers. I'm gonna set my timers for tomorrow for sure. Thank you for that
Yeah.
inspiration. How long you been doing that?
My timer has been going on for like about 2, 3 weeks, I want to say. And I also take off Twitter. I just delete Twitter. I just delete it from my phone and I only put it back on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But I just delete it because I can I can easily get lost in Twitter. Like that's the easiest doom scroll for me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, interesting. I feel like
It's
Twitter
so
isn't
easy.
like that for me.
Nah,
That is the
because it's so
best
entertaining, bro.
alternative, but it depends on who you follow. Like if you're actually follow entertainment, then yeah, I get that. But
Well, I'm just saying, like Black Twitter, like you get up to
uh,
date on all the juicy,
do you follow
you
the
know.
hashtag Black Twitter? Or are you in
No, no,
the
no. It's just I'm just black. You know what I'm saying? So like they know me. They know me. Like if it's anything hip hop related, if it's sports related, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, he's a Negro. He'll like this. You know what I'm saying? And I and I
He'll get the
and I watch
facsimile.
it. Yeah, he'll get it. He'll get it. Yeah, they all get
Are you
it.
involved in any spaces?
uh, late at night, that's what messes me. I'll stay up late because late at night I'll listen to Tariq Nasheed's space because that is the most entertaining space. It's not constructive at all. It is pure
For
entertainment.
real?
That is the most entertaining space on on X on Twitter, bro. Like hands down, bro. Like
How many people
he
be
is
in
a
there?
straight up. It'd be 1,000 people every day,
Wow.
every day. And I don't think that's a lot, but regardless of the size, it's just it's hella funny, bro. He be stinging on everybody. You know what I'm saying? And they just be having the randomest conversations, but they don't be random because like it's similar themes
Mhm.
of conversation, but like the randomest people, but having the same conversation in different ways. And he's a comedian on the low. You know what I'm saying? So, but he
Uh,
wraps it up in like being a historian and being a
sure,
whatever organizer and all that, bro. You're a comedian. You're an entertainer, bro.
sure.
You're funny as you know what I'm saying?
That's dope. Well-rounded
Yeah,
is what it sounds like. And what those
for
go
sure.
over 2, 3, 4 hours?
Yeah, I mean, you could be up to like yeah, like 1, 2 in the morning listening to that
I
if you
remember
want
doing
to.
that on Clubhouse. It's crazy how they got Clubhouse all the way out of here.
Oh yeah, it's all on Twitter, bro. You
It's
just
on
Twitter
Twitter.
Spaces.
Yeah, it's
It's
on
it.
Twitter Spaces now.
It's all Twitter Spaces. Yeah.
Mm, 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 mm.
God made us very simple, and He made everything very simple. But humans get tired of like the same thing, and so we create new things to keep it fresh. So, could there be another synthesis of astrological and theology, Kemet and Christianity, the Greek, meditations of Marcus Aurelius, and the four agreements, the five levels of attachment, and the meta? You can synthesize anything you want because a lot of these things are interconnected, and like kind of like what you said earlier, a lot of stories that we have, a lot of religions, a lot of practices are just other cultures having similar stories and they tell it their way that is unique to their culture. So I say all that to say to answer your question, is there room for it? I think there absolutely is room. And I think there's always going to be, every few years, some person that comes up with a cool way to synthesize old ideas. But such is life and such is humanity. And we're going to continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? From my point of view. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that's just kind of it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
When you say synthesize old ideas, are they ideas that are standing the test of time on their own? Like, you know what I mean? Like how astrology has been around for thousands of years? Or you're saying someone's always going to take something old, remix it, and try to sell you some bullshit?
I wouldn't say some bullshit, but people are always going to take something that has been done and has been like, whatever someone gravitates to, whether it's an old shoe design, an old jazz record or blues record or gospel record or whatever the case might be, or an old ideology or an old quote from such and such. And then I'm going to put my spin on it and I'm going to call it this. People do that all the time.
Surely.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just think that's always going to happen. People are going to look to the past to find inspiration and then put their current cultural twist on some other thing that they like. You know what I'm saying? That they get inspiration from. So that's kind of what I mean by like taking old ideas and kind of synthesizing them with something new, you know? And like,
Yeah.
you know who does that a lot? A lot of academics that are that are like
Researchers?
mental health. Yeah, like not necessarily research, but like mental health type people. Like they do their PhDs or like even like a psych major, or even like someone that's in doing their masters of divinity, and they're like, I've created this idea called crunk theology. You see, we get crunk for God when we get excited. And like people will take something and take some old idea or take some phrase and then try to marry it with the modern day. And it's just like, all right, bro. Like I get what you're saying. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
called a cult.
It's not, but I'm saying like that's a thing. Like crunk theology is something that somebody made up, and it was their dissertation, and it was like, stop trying to like using the word crunk in 2020. Like that's just you're come on
That's
now. That word has expired. Like stop trying to make that a thing.
thankfully. Okay,
You know
so
what I'm saying?
I like that you kept I like that you used a religious example because I think that's one
Mhm.
of the only things that we don't try to do. In what ways could we upgrade religion? In what ways could we upgrade any religion? Like what is one aspect of a religion that you think could be upgraded? Because I know we both have walked away from religion and
Mhm.
found our way through spiritual practices. But like I said last week, my return to Jesus's scripture, not so much religion, because I'm starting to think that like Christianity doesn't do what Jesus says to do. You know what I'm saying? And there are a
Yeah.
couple of really like shining examples in the Bible that
I
make
just had a conversation today about that.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think they're two very different things. So is there like yeah, do you have an example of how what would be one thing that could bring you back into the fold possibly?
Well, I won't say never, but I strongly believe that I probably won't come back into the fold. So I think what we could do to answer your first question, to what can we do to upgrade religion, is to be very clear on the word. There is a, for the most part, negative connotation for those that are not religious with the word religion, because religion represents kind of what you're saying, the Christianity, a modern Christianity that doesn't necessarily represent what Jesus said. It's the cult of Jesus, but it's not the practice of what
Mhm.
Jesus did, right? And so understanding and having a honest conversation about what organized religion is not religion. It's organized religion. Now, religion, the word, and I don't have my book with me, but like I believe it's like a Greek or a Latin, you know what I'm saying? Like again, and legere, to be
Again.
tied, right? So be taught to be tied back. So all religion
What?
is a practice of being tied back to God. That's it. That's it. We're just fine. And that's why every culture has their religious, or if people don't like religion, spiritual practice. Everybody is trying to be tied back to God in some way, shape, or form. Especially the older you get, the more and more you think of like why I'm here and how do I get connected to the source. Everyone is trying to find practices to shed this carnal being that is bringing us all this pain and all this discomfort, and we just want to spiritually get connected back to the one that we know is who is our creator, right? Religion
Mm.
is take the emotional sting out of that word, and just and then if we take the relationship to the organization away, and we take the doctrine and the dogma that has been placed on said person, said character, said God or demigod, and just like take the ideas and how do they connect us back to God? How do they um, put us in the mode of doing God's will? What is God's will? Is it just, it's basically to take care of people and help them get connected back to God. Anything that obstructs someone from being connected to God, that is not God's will. And so, it's just like having those conversations and getting away from, like I said, the dogma and the theology of, well, if you don't do this, well, if you don't speak in tongues, well, if you play the drum, if you play instruments at church, then you going to hell. Well, if you pray, well, if you don't pray 5 times, it's like, all right, bro. Like what do we just do with this? You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like it went from being connected to God. Now you got to do things the way I do it because this is my personality and this is
Connecting to
how I
me.
feel connected. But it's, yeah, and it's like, no, I'm not following you. I'm just trying to get back to God. I don't, however you did it, that's cool. But I don't got to do things in your way. And that's how cults are formed. That's how dogma is formed. That's how, you know what I'm saying? And so people get confused because they're following people as opposed to listening to themselves and finding their way back to God, in their own way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well said, Joe. And I gotta shout out Homeboy again, that I've been listening to because he just gives me more and more confirmation that I feel like I'm listening to the right person.
Mm,
Today he says, I listened to a couple of lectures of his today, and he was like, why would you ever give 10% of your earnings to anybody? He was like, you think that's what the Bible is telling you? He said, in actuality, 10% of you is the carnal body. 10% is this. He's saying all this,
mm-hmm,
the ego, the hunger, the attitude, the emotions, all of that is the 10% that God is saying, sacrifice that to me and I will unlock and give you the 90% of who you actually are. You know what I mean? Like
that's
I
heavy.
bro, I love that, man. I love that.
That's heavy. Yeah.
Bro, the way that I was able to connect and just really feel that in the moment, man, it's stuck with me the way that I'm explaining it to you right now. He
Mm-hmm,
said, God just said, give me this 10% and the
mm,
rest will be yours. And it goes along with that whole, if your eye be single, your body will fill with light, look for God within,
mm,
all the kingdom of heaven is within. I
mm-hmm,
just love how he presents and connects a lot of Eastern philosophy with the Bible and astrology, numerology. He has this whole thing about numerology as well, about the number nine, number seven being divine, like intervention and stuff like that. He had a great example
mm-hmm.
about Jacob and Esau. But man,
Can I? Oh my.
the last thing I just want to say is this might be that confirmation bias that you were talking about last week, where
Mm,
it just feels so good hearing words that I already knew, but kind of remixed and
mm-hmm,
presented to me in a way that gives me a different relationship with it. I'm totally thrilled with it still, man.
for sure.
What are you gonna say?
No, that's good. I like that 10% because I used to I got two things. So there with the 10% thing, I used to talk about that when I was really on my when I was teaching my course, Know Your Enemy, Evolution and Racism. I was like 10% of the like our skin is 10% of our body, but like we're mostly water, like 70% water. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we got people judging a whole person based upon 10% of their makeup.
Mm.
So are you judging skin? Are you judging water? Like what are you judging? Like then we get it like what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? So that part. But the second thing I wanted to say was, oh man, I lost it. It was when it comes to religion, right? And belief systems and all that, one of the things in the conversation I was having earlier, what I was saying is like we get so caught up in the intellectualization of our philosophy and our worldview and all that. And we have people arguing over ideas and like philosophical stances, but it's too much believing and not enough doing. I don't care what religion it is. If you don't practice and all you do is think and pontificate and philosophize, it doesn't do you any justice. It doesn't do anyone else any justice. If we don't do the thing, then we're not doing any good. We're just talking and we're just having conversations and we're going in circles and we're not accomplishing anything. And the dude was a Christian I was talking to, right? And so he was like, I said, I rock with Jesus. I just don't go to church. You know what I'm saying? Like I like Jesus. I really like what he did. If it was whether it's allegorical or for real, I like what Jesus stood for. But Jesus did. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what Jesus did. A lot of people always want to talk to you about what they think and what they believe, but they don't do anything other than go to church, pay tithes. right? And but then they don't do anything. And it's like, what
Hey,
are we
they
doing?
already paid.
That's
They
not
already
what
paid
Jesus.
what they're paying
Jesus
for it.
didn't want you to sit. Jesus didn't want you to sit here and do nothing and listen to people tell you how good he is. If Jesus sat there and was like, Jesus would never want it, like he prays on himself. Like Jesus never wanted to be worshipped. He came to
Right,
do things.
right.
And he was like, look, greater things you will do than these. Like that's a
Yeah,
scripture.
yeah, yeah. That
Greater
was
things you
great.
will do.
Yes.
But nobody wants to, I won't say nobody, but like most of the religion, and we know because it's been corrupted by Roman
Mm,
Catholicism and all that. So it's like, okay, I don't want people to do anything other than listen to me and give me money, and I want to control them. And so this is how we do it. You know what I'm saying? But if we can see past that and start getting to the doing as opposed to just telling people what we think and what we believe and then demonizing other people's patterns of thought and speech, it's just like, yo, we're not, everybody's wrong until you actually do it. And it's kind of similar to what you're saying about the feelings, right? Like
mm.
we can feel to a certain extent, but like eventually we're going to have an objective or scientific conversation, and we actually don't even know what we think until we do it. Like you got to test out your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like you can feel like this is right. You can feel like this would happen in this situation, but you actually got to get into the thing and do the thing to
Right.
know how you know the efficacy of your thoughts. Big, I gotta get a big word. You got to know the efficacy, my brother. You know what I'm saying, of
Yo,
the
I don't know
thought
what that means. I'm gonna
capitulation
take that as
as
disrespect.
we.
All right.
Oh, this is real smart tech. You know what I'm saying?
So when you talk about doing,
Uh,
what do you mean by that? I understand it,
practicing.
but how could that be? How is that demonstrated? I guess is my question.
It really has to come down to what is it that one says they believe, and what is the value of what one believes. Is there value in it to others, or is it only valuable to you?
Mm, mm.
Right? And it's not a point of like, for me, it's not a point of you got to prove to me, but it's like, why aren't we proving it to ourselves? It's like we want to prove to others
That is
the
valuable.
efficacy of our
Right,
thoughts,
right,
but like we won't even prove to ourselves how valuable our thoughts are, because we don't, if we don't do it, it's just like, oh, I told them. But then you sit there and you don't do anything. It's like, so
mm.
as I say these thoughts, this is like my reflections to myself,
Right, right, right. 100%.
especially coming out of Christianity. And not to say that I didn't, like I was very active, I was like assistant, youth pastor, and I did, I'm a doer. Like if I'm a being, I'm a do it. Like I preached, I rapped, I did the things. You know what I'm saying? Like I led youth groups. Like I was a doer. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen so many people that would just take and take and take and sit back and consume. You know what I'm saying? Which is such as American life. Like most of us are consumers. Very little of us are producers, right? And so it's just like, so we have a culture and a Western culture of consuming, consuming, consuming. And it's like, yo, we have the ability, we have so much downtime compared to the rest of the world,
Right.
right? Like
Many
we
places.
have a lot more downtime, a lot much more leisure and opportunity to do the things that we say that we're so deeply connected to. But what do we do? Like, do do we meditate? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the value of us doing yoga? What is the value of us praying and whatever? Like, what do we do for the community to show that this is God's will? Or like, what is the constructive result of this ideology? If it doesn't produce anything constructive, then I feel like we need to go back to the drawing board, because we should be producing and taking care of God's people,
Mm.
which is everybody, taking care of one another.
Okay. Yes. And I love that I heard what you said, like, "Hey, if it's like your ideology, is it useful to other people? Like, if it's not, then we have to go back to the drawing board." And at first I was like, "Yeah, like it has to be you have to be able to show something for it." But then I was like, "No, I think that's the beautiful thing about meditation, right? Meditation, no one
Hmm.
else benefits from your meditation. No one benefits from everyone meditating. But I think the meditation is like the fruit that the tree that meditation help grows bears, ugh, that was such a disgusting sentence. The fruit of the tree that meditation helps grow is what helps others, hopefully. You know what I mean? Like you being able to bring forth that which is within. And especially if you can be in that congruence, that's what I'm finding with the guy that I listen to. And that's why it's so easy to listen to him, because it doesn't seem, the conversations that he has, it doesn't seem contrived. It doesn't seem like he practiced. It seems like he's read all this stuff already, and he's read it a lot. And so he's just so excited to be able to share this with you. And that congruence with the spirit and the word is very evident, and something I would love to be able to do. Just work on my congruence, I guess. And in an effort to be as congruous with the last episode and every episode moving forward, I'd like to keep it at an hour. So we are at the tail end, and I realized that I didn't even ask you for your socials last time. So I want to leave plenty of time for you to really tell people who you are and how they can reach you and get some more of your thoughts. Are you more on Instagram? Are you more on X? Are you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, I'm more on Instagram, so at Emmanuel.did, D-I-D, EMMANUEL.did, D-I-D. So that's the way to reach me. I'm only on there an hour a day. So, but also you can go check out my website, emmanuelwilliams.co, to learn more about me and the work that I do within the community, and just professional development, racial equity trainings, conflict management, coaching, things of that nature. Yeah. So hit me up. I'm here to talk.
Thank you very much, brother. I've been enjoying this, and I love getting the momentum going for us to be able to do this again.
That's a fact, bro.
This hour really does.
I'm kind of disappointed we didn't hit on the music, because I was ready for that.
Yeah. See, that's one.
But we can do that next week. We can do that next week
for sure. And we can do that in between too. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can just like both be on Twitter for that hour and go back and forth on, you know what I mean, like a couple of, I can do some pre-created yeah, I think I want to have that conversation with you when it comes to top 10 of the year. And let's go back and forth with that, man. Sure. Yeah, let's do that on Twitter for sure. This is another episode of the Small Chops podcast. I still don't know if this is going to be Small Chops, if this is going to be F Media. You're just under the umbrella right now. And Small Chops, I really would love for it to be just these. Yeah, this is definitely an episode of Small Chops. As always, you can reach me at EFFABL.co, effable.co. That is my handle on Instagram. Effable, EFFABL is Twitter, and EFFABL.co is the website. So you'll find this and other episodes, Small Chops podcast, on YouTube as well. We're gonna really dial that in. I gotta have where culture, music, entertainment, politics, religion, history all come together. I gotta get me a tag, man, for sure. Unapologetically.